Dividing fractions is something that is very similar to what we did with multiplying fractions. I want you to think about something. If you take the number 12 and you divide it by 2, you'll get 6. Well, just like if we take 12 and we multiply it by 1/2, we're going to get 6 because half of 12 is 6, as you are aware of. Keep this in mind as we're working through this today, because that's going to help you to have this make more sense. There's a vocabulary word you need to be aware of, which is the reciprocal. Reciprocal of a number is its inverse. What that means is we're going to take that number and we are going to flip it upside down. So for example, if we have the fraction 2/7, we flip it over and we end up with 7/2. 1/9 becomes 9/1. 3/8 becomes 8/3. Things get just a little bit different though when you have a whole number. Like here I have the number 2, which in order to write its reciprocal, we need to turn it into a fraction. So we are going to take it and write it as 2/1 and then flip it and we get 1/2. Same thing for 12. We're going to write it over 1 and then flip it and get 1/12. We'll come back to here. Well, you have 2 and you have 1/2. 2 and 1/2 are reciprocals of each other. They're the inverse. We flip them over. Okay. So this is what you're going to do when you divide. First thing you're going to do is you're going to find the reciprocal of the second fraction. That second fraction is your divisor. So we find the reciprocal of the divisor. Next, we're going to cross cancel if it's possible. It's not always possible, but we want to take advantage of that opportunity if it is, because that makes it to where the numbers are nice and small and easy to work with at the end. Then we multiply our numerators and we multiply our denominators. Sometimes where kids make mistakes is in the process of multiplying. You want to make sure that you multiply straight across. We're not multiplying diagonal or any other way. And lastly, we are going to simplify if it is at all possible. So let's look at a problem. First, we have 2 divided by 5/8. Well, first thing I'm going to take care of is I'm going to write 2 as a fraction. I need both of these numbers as fractions. Then I'm going to do what we call keep, change, and flip. So we're going to keep this first fraction the same. We're going to keep it as 2/1. We're going to change division into multiplication, and then we're going to flip 5/8 to 8/5. It's really important that you take the time and rewrite this as a multiplication problem so that way you don't make a silly mistake. Now we're going to multiply straight across because there's nothing that can be cross-canceled. 2 times 8 is 16. 1 times 5 is 5. Well, now I have an improper fraction, so I need to make it into a mixed number. 5 goes into 16 3 times. We have 1 left over, and 5 remains our denominator. So 3 1/5 would be the answer. Here we have a fraction divided by a fraction, so we're going to keep it the same. We're just going to keep, change, and flip this problem. 2/3, we keep the same. Change division to multiplication, and flip 1/6 to 6/1. Now here I'm looking for cross-canceling, and I see where I can cross-cancel. 3 and 6 can both be divided by 3. So I'm going to take that 6 and divide it by 3, and I'm going to take the 3 and divide it by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. I always rewrite my problems so that way I make sure that I don't make a silly mistake and use a number that I've already canceled out. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4/1, of course, can be simplified to 4. And lastly, let's look at this one. Well, here we have a whole number, but that whole number is our divisor, the number that we're going to find the reciprocal of. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write that as a fraction by placing it over 1. And then I'm going to keep, change, and flip this problem. Keep 5/7 the same, change division to multiplication, flip 4/1 to 1 over 4. I'm looking for cross canceling. I don't see any, so that means I'm just going to multiply. 5 times 1 is 5. 7 times 4 is 28. Cannot be simplified, so 5/28 is our answer.